Think, oh gosh, a lot more prep I should have done. Didn't think about it, but I'll get into it in a second. Oh, so since I'm kind of doing my thing, I just take my time, get this together. Hey, Crazy Sarge, what's happening? I'm still doing some prep work. Wasn't really in a big hurry tonight because of um, the full moon energies come in about 6:30 my time, so I figured the later I go on, the better. Just to get closer to when the energies are going to be their fullest, because they're going to be full to this morning instead of tomorrow night. I mean, most people will see it, but again, we're supposed to get storms here tomorrow, so tonight I soaked up very nice in some moonlight. Took both my big pieces of citrine out there, and I'll tell you, this is deep. Holding the big pieces of citrine and just with my own bare eye, I'm gazing at the moon. It was like, man, I was seeing them stars just hidden. The stars you technically can see through, and it's like the stars was coming up. So that was kind of cool. That was definitely cool. So yeah, the energies will be tonight. So but I'm still kind of setting up everything. So bear with me for a few more seconds. Kick back and dig while I get it together. Just thought I'd come hang out, and I guess it's never a waste of time. Just come out and just chime in with everybody. Hey, Stefan, what's happening? Here we go. It's got to be in here. Yes. Here we go. That was loaded. Still kind of prepping again. Kind of the later in the morning we can take this, the more the energy is going to be amplified. So kind of dragging my feet a little bit, just getting this together. Thought I'd do this on camera instead of being off. Okay. And then when I get into it, I can just get into it. Oh, it's already. Okay, that already was out. Sounds like my damn cats are going crazy. This full moon really gets to the cats. I've noticed over the years they be tripping out over this shit. Can't spell all of a sudden. Oh, right here. All right. There we go. Got like all these other markers. So that'll be 3 references that I'll use so far. All right. Give these good vibrations. Another way of looking at standing on your square is you're standing on your directions, because there are 5 directions. And so technically, if you looked at the term standing on your square, what it really means is you're standing in your directional energy frame. Now you can enlarge that into a terrace But just the basic thing, if you had to stand somewhere, you're standing on all directions is a way of looking at it too. So I didn't want to forget that little bit. And so I didn't really have to do any, really real different sounds because I started incorporating the sounds every day. But it's still just like give them out. Well, first thing I want to say is the crystal of the day is going to be citrine. So I will, and as I mentioned to Crazy Sarge, I took both of my citrines, the ones over there. I really don't like keeping them too close together because they're such a trickster energy. But a day like today, I had to go let them get some of this good. We've got a pretty full moon here, and went in and dipped these in, and yeah, charge these because these really don't care for the sun, but they will bathe in the moon. So both of them will be in the windows. Right now, I have all my shades pulled just for a little sound dampening. But once I get done with here, I'm lifting everything back up so the moonlight can shine in here and touch all my crystals. So I will give that to all of them. And so this is, I'll read more and more of the possibilities, but this is the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am your host. 8 Wind is timeless. I'm also a time walker and a time lord. And it did all start with a gentle sadness. I am the holder of the continuous ball game that was created by the Hero Twins. And I get to play sometimes. I am the Galactic Daddy-O sitting on my galactic patio from Minnesota to the universe. So welcome. Whenever you can see this, joyful day out of time to you and all of yours, timelessness to you, wellness to you. I'm doing the magnesium water tonight with the silver spoon, mixing it because the moon is a water energy. Again, the tides, the way the tides move, and being over water with a full moon, even living near water during a full moon. So pop them if you got them, smoke them if you want them. Definitely. And so giving all that out. Again, I said what's up to Stefan and Crazy Sarge, A2 Bull. Thank you. Sebastian, thank you. Oh, definitely. You see the game earlier. What did they say? I don't know if people caught the first game. What did he say? He said, this reminded me of Saturday's game. So saying he was telling everybody that the script was the kind of, the first 2 games was blowouts. LeBron and them was kind of blowing them out. And that's why I made them short little videos, because it was a foul on Booker where it was no way they could win. It wasn't enough time left, but he gave him 3 free throws. So I'm pretty sure that foul I showed that was done on Booker that gave him 3 points had to do with the point spread, because it just did. It was twice. I made 2 videos on that where there was no reason to foul. They had the game, but yet they fouled anyway. Crowder hits a 4-point play. Booker gets 3. That's 7 points right there. That really, there was no reason to let them have those points. So yeah, very scripted game. But again, that first game, I watched hockey. I was watching hockey. The first game, Boston, and I'm not really still convinced with the Nets. I'm still not really convinced with the Nets. We've watched the fall off of Boston, so It's no surprise. They haven't really been playing consistent all year. This mint's good. They haven't been playing consistent all year, so I wasn't surprised. I don't think anybody should have been. Peppermint patty. Well, that is kind words, Sebastian. Ryan, what's happening? Kobe was murdered. If he died at all. I could see that they stepped. Hey, Lorenzo, thank you for joining me. I've said this from day one about Kobe. I was like, if he died at all, because we know how they be doing. And I was listening to Floyd Patterson talking about if he wanted not to be recognized and stuff, they wear disguises. And I've said many times, I mean, people look alike. If you try, I don't have to travel around the world to see that people look alike. I'll say this: Americans look alike, so I imagine people around the world look alike. Richard Pryor told a joke that he saw a dude in Africa look like Joe Frazier, which is doubtful. It's kind of a different phenotype almost, but well, I get his point. But my traveling, and I'll say this: the most unattractive people in the nation live in Wisconsin. I mean, from the mama, the daddy, the grandparents, the least attractive people in the country live in Wisconsin. Now, I border Wisconsin, and it changes like night and day. So say you're going out in Wisconsin, going to a bar, and you're not seeing very attractive people. You drive 30 minutes across the border, go to the first bar you see, and the people visibly become better looking. Like you wouldn't even believe he was on the same planet. The people look that much better. And the scariest place to drive in the world is in Wisconsin too. You don't want to be bullshitting in Wisconsin. And they luckily they raised the speed limit to 70, so you can kind of zoom through it. It's just flat land. It's all flat, no hills, just flat. But when it was 55, they didn't play. And if you didn't have that bread, you was going to jail till you got that bread. Other states just take your license like right is back, not Wisconsin. They like, The script is the 76ers versus the Lakers in 6. That's what I picked. That's still what I picked. People underestimate how much the coaches have to do with it. There's backlash about Steve Nash. That is one. Now I'll agree. They put Steve Nash in the same position that they put the guy in Golden State in when he had Steph and all them. The one Michael Jordan sacrificed his daddy in Iran with Kerr. I agree, Kerr. And then LeBron's coach, Black, I think was his name. I'll agree that they do set a scenario for first-year coaches to make it to the finals. I just don't think they're going to do that for Nash. I really don't. I really don't think they're going to do that for him. And remember, he was a lovable loser too. Kerr had won finals. So it was easier to put Kerr there than I think to put Nash there because, again, Nash was a loser. So I'm sticking with this. I'm sticking with the Lakers and the Sixers. I think it's going to be a Wilt ritual. But like them playing right now is a Connie Hawkins ritual, which looks like that energy had to be tapped into a little bit too. Like even watching the Hawks and Trae Young, becomes a Pistol Pete thing. So it's a lot of angles that you can see. So Leonard, what's happening? The Mavs. I don't think the Mavs. Hey, PJ, thank you for joining me. King Kane. After this year might be done watching this NBA garbage. I said Mavs 5 versus Clippers. Look like I'm going to be right. Yeah. I just don't think they're going to put them over the hump yet. And when they do, they're only going to give them one. That's all they did. Because remember the drop in Dallas, the year they won it. And what, did they not make the playoffs the next year? So that's going to have to be considered too, if they do win it. They didn't even make. I think they didn't even make the playoffs the next year because they really weren't that good. That was probably the biggest of all the fixed jobs that LeBron been into, that was the worst fix ever. That fix looked so bad. That product really wasn't a good product that you'd even want to go watch it. So let me do this before I forget. For those of you that was able to contact that practiced this the other day, anybody, and I'll repeat this. Those of you that saw this energy, what I wrote down from the other day was love is all we need. Now, if anybody ran into that energy or heard that, this is a Beatles song. But if anybody ran into that the last few days since I came on Sunday, love is all you need. So if anybody got that message, that was the message that I sent out. I want to say that before I forget. So if anybody felt that, let me know. Yeah, the Mavs only gonna go one or two rounds, and then they're gonna be put out. I don't see them putting them that high in there, because LeBron's gonna be looking good. They beat these Suns. They're gonna be in that number 2 seed. They're gonna really probably have the easiest path once they win. So if LeBron and them win, it's gonna be easier for them now on. So, all right, both names are Steve. There you go. And that's not ironic, Lorenzo, because that's kind of how they do it. So no, Leonard, I don't think the Nash are going to go that far. Nash can play the Suns in the finals of his former team. I don't know. I just don't see where's the money in them. Oh my goodness, I didn't put it on. Here we go. I ain't got it on now. Give my neck a break. So I just don't see them giving them that. And Charles Barkley and all of them is already alluding to, playoff experience. This is what was funny is Anthony Davis. They said the next home game with the Lakers, which they letting about 16,000 fans go up in there. So the next home game would be Anthony Davis's first actual game playing in the Staples Center, which was a surprise. He had, I hadn't thought about it, but he's never played there and been there for a year. So what am I hitting back here? Oh, water. Oh, okay. Damn. Me anyway. Oh, that was a mistake. Chris Paul. I have Nets versus Suns. I still don't see the Nets. I just don't, King. I really don't. 12 seed, number 13, play 2 seed Heat. Nets 2 seed versus Sun 2 seed. That's a good point. Hey, Marcus the Great, thank you for joining. Chris Paul hurt as usual in the playoffs. They won't get too far. I wonder if that's why he did that dirty move to LeBron last week. I wonder if LeBron had hurt him, because he didn't play that much tonight. And like when they said they did the thing where supposedly he hurt his he pulled his calf or pulled his hamstring. You know how they like to do it. The Nets were just one hamstring from winning. So Mavs will beat the Clippers next year. LeBron will beat the Clippers. Warriors with Klay Thompson, Pelicans, and the Nets in the finals. Pelicans and the Nets, ain't a lot of money in that though, T-Ball. There is not a lot of money in that yet. Not yet. I just don't think they're gonna. I think they're really gonna give LeBron 3, and maybe lose the 4th one with his son, because that's what they want to do. They want to put LeBron with his son. Woka Stefan, Larry fanboy, who said Warriors over Nets or Bucks don't have a favorite team. I don't know. You ain't got to call him a fanboy. Nets ain't my team. I like MJ and Penny. That's it. I don't watch the NBA. I'll stop watching after the bubble. MG's ass without magnets. Yeah, MJ played, 87 when he had the 7-point one. Definitely even mad. NBA is in their 74th year. So LeBron wins, he would be 7-4. 7 plus 4, 11. 5 plus 6 would be 6 or 7. Oh, good point. Good point. Thank you for that, Lorenzo. That's some good points. Very good points. I'm laughing at myself because I didn't even plug this damn microphone in. They are in their 75th year. 75 years from 46, right? 46. That first registered year when Toronto played the Knicks. 46. Oh, no, it was Toronto and the Nationals. Yeah, the Syracuse Nationals against Toronto. I think that was 46, right after the merger of the other leagues. They're gonna have the Lakers there without a doubt. No, not just they. Not only did they turn the magnet on for LeBron, they turned on the Curry magnet. But did you see that layup I did with Booker? Booker clearly shot short. Did you check that out? He clearly shot short. He just, sometimes when you shoot, you short arm your shot. You kind of just short arm it a little bit, is what they call it, short arming it. But he kind of, or pulling the string. He didn't put enough on it, but it hit that rim, and you saw the momentum carry the ball because they bounced it up. And so we were seeing a combination, again, that the old technology is still used with Steph's technology. I think they're going to use the newer technology that was for Steph through the rest of the playoffs, because that's what I'm noticing. It's not the old system as much. It appears like more what Steph was using. So don't be surprised if they use it tonight. They're going to use it. All the games is going to have Steph's technology. So because they ain't got to move around as much, just giving it to Steph. They can just sit with it. So yeah, that's what we're seeing. They're going to have their Lakers there without a doubt. NBA did the Suns dirty. They improved to the 2 seed just to lose in the first round. But we've seen that years past. They've done that years past, King. They sure do. They did that in years past. But again, it's the agenda, like Barkley and them was saying, how they going to do with playoffs experience. That's what's going to be the call. It's like, well, it'll be next year. Didn't they do that to Houston? Remember, Houston, when Harding was one of the leading scorers, they was doing them like that. They was being the number 1 seed, getting knocked out. Y'all remember that they was doing that to Houston? Had the best team. So yeah, that's what they're gonna say is playoff experience. They learned from the playoff experience. Just to help him because he has no right. This year was just to help him. They pushing Zion. That's why he'll beat the Pelicans and then get revenge on the Warriors and Kawhi, former teammates Kyrie and revenge on Kevin Durant. This year was just to help him because he has no right. Yeah, I can see you saying just improving his position and improving. That was a big thing with Zion getting his shoes is a big thing. Again, it's the most marketable people. That's what you have to look at. That's why they suffered. They suffered when they put San Antonio in. They were suffering, and they really suffered last year. But they made it such a national thing. Everybody kind of going for Canada. Even the Americans was kind of going for the Canadian team and the Drake thing. So you see how they were trying to entice them. But look at them this year. Same way I was just talking about Dallas. They weren't so great this year. Well, Kawhi left, so still a championship team. Everybody had a party. So this is kind of the thing they do that we should be used to it. Oh my goodness. So let's answer some more questions. Do you think they tell players how many awards they will win and when they will win before they sign the contract in blood? Yeah. This is the thing. And this is I've explained this before. When you see that contract, and a lot of them will, the ones that are really pushed through get this. As I've said, you see this hologram, and they'll put the hologram through your career. And what it'll be is like pretty much for your soul, this is what will happen on our part. This is what will happen on our part. And then as that hologram goes, they're going to show them faces. I'm like, well, okay, for you to get all this, then they're going to show the faces of your family. And the person will make a decision by the way they look there. They ain't got to say nothing. They'll look at them people and it'd be like they'll read what they're like. Okay, this is the one we'll take out. Then this one, okay, and then it keeps going. Then it's like, but if you do this, then this is how it's going to look. But if you follow this, this is how it's going to look. Which one do you think you can be? Can you be the A part or the B part? Either way, you're going to sell your soul. But which one do you want, the A or the B? And so they somewhat know going in what to expect. Whatever Lola wants, Lola gets. That's why I'm over the Kwame thing. I'm over him. He ain't saying nothing. It was just a money thing. It was just to make him famous. He's famous now. He's more famous now than he ever was, and that's all it was about. It wasn't about uplifting or telling. It is about a dude who's never really famous getting his 5 minutes. So, but that's the hustle. That's the hustle. That's the hustle. Only put out there a little bit to entice people, like you telling truths. Yet you got millionaires. Millionaires getting donations. Why people giving millionaires donations? But he did say that he would put some of them donations towards something. We need vocational staff. That's what people need. What's with the mid-season tournament? It's a good possibility next year, 21-22. There possibly could be a mid-season tournament. Because as I was saying last night, if some of these players that get eliminated are going to play in the Olympics, we're talking about what? 60 days. The people that are going to play in the Olympics in 60 days. So we're talking about what, 12 to 15 people, maybe 12, at least 12, that are going to be affected that play in the Olympics and the ones that's played in these games so far. So it's going to be another early start for the NBA, all the sports. It's going to be a quick turnaround. That's a good possibility for next year. I think that might be a way to rest the dudes that played in the Olympics. I think that's how they're going to look at it, is they're going to get a rest, the ones that played in the Olympics. That's interesting, King. King says Mahomes will suffer the State Farm curse like Rodgers and Paul. That's very interesting. Toronto Huskies versus New York Knicks. Okay, I knew it was Toronto. I was thinking it was the Syracuse Nationals, but it was the Knicks. And that's what I said the other night. I said the Knicks the other night. Yep. That was the first game. And again, that was when the leagues merged. It was a couple leagues. They didn't take in the Eastern League, which was the older league. They took the not what Connie Hawkins played in, the ABL. They took the UBL in. I think it was the UBL league in. It was a couple leagues that merged to be the NBA. Yep. Kawhi thing was staged. Oh, absolutely. All of them staged. Kawhi getting the reward from the league after being a bust. Oh, Kwame. Yeah, the whole thing was staged. Yep. Kwame's whole thing was staged. You only put, so what you thinking is truth when really it's the same old bash your brother. That's what it comes to. We know you can't say nothing new about Stephen A. Smith. Everybody already know. He done showed his hand. He already showed his hand. So what is you saying new? You ain't saying nothing new. Yeah, fake woke. Right. We need vocational centers. I mean, View Anywhere, like what Brother Nick did. Like what Brother Nick did. Brother Nick opened his business was going to teach some young men how to weld. And he said only a handful of people. He said it cost him money because not enough people. And he even invited some people. And a person had the nerve to come back and say, well, my son couldn't make it that time. Can you do it again? But his heart was, but see, that's the thing. It's like me getting my cats beds. They don't hardly use them. But that doesn't matter because my intention is for them. So Nick did his job. If only one person showed up, he did his job. And whoever took that training, they did their job. Got her right in the stomach. So, Brother Nick did his thing, but I'm saying if more brothers can do that, if you know pipe fitting, you know any plumbing, take a young man with you, show him how to do some of this stuff. So they can do this. Like even like plumbing could be how to repair a water line in the house, or even how to tap a water line to run the copper place up to your refrigerator. So your refrigerator, I mean, you can do that. You don't necessarily, you got to have equipment, but you don't necessarily have to go to plumbing to learn how to do these things, or even snake your shower, or even snake your toilet. I mean, these practical skills that the young men should have. A small garden. I mean, whatever these practical skills we can teach people. Window framing. I mean, there's so many things that used to be in the schools. Now I know I've talked about cars. Cars might be one thing where you do have to have some technical abilities. Yes, you do have to be able to take something apart and put it back together. But cars are getting a little more sophisticated, where you're going to have to be able to read what the computer is telling you. Because like if you had a Mercedes, or even when I had my old 9 Discovery, I couldn't just let anybody do my brakes, because it was computer shit that you took apart, that if you didn't have them scanners to put that shit, you can't let anybody do that. So but if you got older cars, you definitely can. And the older cars are a better deal in some ways. So yeah, Kwame is controlled opposition. Definitely. Are they shaming Paul? Why are they shaming Paul George? I don't know if they could have shamed him more than Dame Dollar, that jumper he hit in his face. Where it's just like, ooh, right in your face, Paul George. So when you take that, I don't know if you can ever be the lovable winner after that jumper was so dead in his eye. So his shaming, like the break in his leg, was that computer generated? Was that a real break? This makes me even wonder that. Was that even real? Compound fractures all of a sudden. I'm not saying guys don't get hurt, but I mean, we're talking about, you haven't seen compound fractures in years, and then he gets one, and then Gordon gets one. I don't know. It's hard to believe. Gordon, the first game of the year. Not to say it can't happen, but I'm saying it's odd. Very odd for it happening. Watch the clip between Jackson Barnes and that gin bus. It was all staged. Yeah. Marcus the Great, where were you? I'm sorry. Marcus the Great. I skipped your question. Oh. Shots almost all hit nothing but net. 15 out of 20. Jump shots didn't touch no rim almost every shot. There you go. That's what I was saying. All these games now have Steph's rim, have Steph's system. Yeah, Marcus. He has Steph's system. I noticed that too. And he's shooting with Steph's system. But that's what appears like we're going to see, the newer advanced system that Steph used. Now they've moved that system around. Seems like we're going to see that until the end of the tournament. Yeah, Marcus. I did catch that too. I thought the very same thing. But I saw that tonight with LeBron. And some of the shots the Lakers shot, but also some of the shots that the Suns shot as well. Like Crowder shot. That, like, not only did the dumbass foul him, but he can't shoot. And you guys, did you see the play? I'm trying to tell you that they all run. Everybody lines up and they try to swing the ball to one side. And it's just so interesting. And now we got dudes to drive to the hole and just so they can jump in the air and throw it out to somebody for a three. It looks good. But that same play, everybody line up around the three and move the ball around the horn, around the world. Everybody remember how you used to play around the world shooting game? So I hope Kawhi getting his reward from the leads after being a bust. He getting his 15 minutes of fame. Absolutely. I remember he did a video about it. He said he was perturbed because no players didn't show up to his class. One of the parents promised to send their children, didn't. Then she asked him, right, could he do it again? Exactly, Lorenzo. That's the thing, is if you do spend the time, is it worth your time? Will enough people do it? But again, You can't look at the lack of people that came. You got to look at the effort and the people who wanted that information. Boom. You don't discriminate. Whoever opened them up and wants that, give it to them. And then your intention is already put out there. Your intention is put out there. So, yeah. But yeah, Marcus, the fix is obvious. And this is the thing, too. I sound like old man, the old man in the White House. This is really how we have to kind of look at it, too. Is we watch this stuff. A lot of us played it one time or another. Like, one thing about me is I can remember almost all the people I grew up with, how they played their game. I could describe how they played. I could describe, granted, I lived in Kalamazoo for 20 years. In my 20 years, the people that I saw, I could break down names of these dudes that might not even play in high school, but how they played when they played in junior high. Because when I was in junior high, everybody could play. I literally mean, no matter where you went, you would find 12, 13 to 14-year-olds that played pretty decent. And then when you talked about the individual gym classes, we had tournaments in the gym class, just like we played touch football and speedball. We had basketball tournaments, and these guys could play decent, and some of them never made a team. Again, where I grew up, it was church basketball. So if you couldn't play high school basketball, you could still play church basketball. Churches had their own leagues. And not just a Catholic league. I mean, they had a league of just people that didn't play high school basketball on any level. You could still play in your church. They had a league here of just football players, where football players could play in the fall. When I first moved here back in 2006, I reffed a league of just basically football players that wanted to stay in shape. The coaches put together, it was about 12 teams, and they played a season in the fall. They played a season in the summer to stay in shape. Yeah. Football season was over, so it was these guys that didn't play high school, but they had a league to keep these guys in shape. So, but yeah, I could still rank off them dudes and tell you how dudes I watched. Like my cousin that passed, I can tell you how his game was. He had decent handles for being 6'7", but he had a soft shot. I had two cousins like that. I had one cousin 6'7", very soft shot. I had another cousin about 6'2", maybe 6'3" when he was young. But they both shot very similar. But my cousin Rick was a little taller, but could run all day. And this cat was a heroin addict. He was a real life, shot heroin in high school and still hooped. And not judging him, but this was the life that they chose. Kwame's rant started on the birthday, I believe. Yes, and we saw he's a Mason. He did the Mason pose in one of his things, so he's a Mason. Maybe I copied this. Let me see if I did. I kind of want to crack you up how they try to throw shit in here. Let me see if I kept this. I thought I did, but maybe I didn't. Let's see. Let's see if I kept this. I wanted to show this example of how they try to sneak shit in here. And maybe I didn't copy it. Let me see if I did or not. Yeah, I did copy it. Check this out. I should start putting this shit on the computer, but I want to show you this picture. All right. I'll read some of this shit too. Benjamin let me read this whole thing. I'm going to read this whole thing because it's actually pretty decent. Cicada swarms were first documented by Benjamin Banneker. Now, to give you a kind of remembering who Benjamin Banneker is, he was a free person, more than likely American Indian, but that's another story. But anyway, free person. Designed a clock that ran for 50, 60 years on nothing but wood. Made it out of wood after just looking at a pocket watch. He made a running clock out of wood. But this is the interesting thing. He is the first person in America. Benjamin Banneker was just 17 when he first studied the overwhelming broads of cicadas emerging from the ground in 1749. In the spring of 1749, a billion swarm of cicadas known today as Brood X emerged from the ground in rural Maryland, much to the fascination of horror of a 70-year-old tobacco farmer. How many 17-year-old tobacco farmers do you think there was back then? So that tells you he was a businessman for once, but working with his family.
named Benjamin Banneker, who believed they were locusts. The first great locust year I can remember was 1749, wrote Banneker decades later in his astronomical journal. I then was about 17 years of age when thousands of them came and was creeping the trees and bushes. I then imagined that they came to eat and destroy the fruit of the earth and would occasion a famine in the land. I therefore began to kill and destroy them, but soon saw that my labor was in vain. Therefore, he gave up. But here's a picture of him, and this picture is not a new picture. This picture is from 1946. And I just kind of laughed because I was looking for it. I'm like, yeah, he's holding the pillar, even though he's supposed to be, where you measure distances and shit. But it's the pillar. And then they put the square right there. You see how they snuck in the Mason shit? And I believe he was a Mason too. But they snuck that in. But this is interesting. And then they give, they say he was born as a brilliant self-taught. He was a self-taught mathematician and astronomer. Surveyor is the word I was looking for, and a naturalist. At 22, he built a clock entirely out of wood after just seeing a pocket watch. Sorry, I capped. It ran for 40 years. Remember, later in life, he assisted George Eliot in the original land survey of the District of Columbia by calibrating Eliot's field clock using the movement of the stars. Sent his almanac, one of the first published in America, to Thomas Jefferson. So remember, he wrote one of the first. He beat Benjamin Franklin's. But of all Banneker's accomplishments, he's rarely credited with being among the first scientific observers to calculate the 17-year life cycle of the remarkable period of cicada, longest living insect on the planet. Did you know that? Cicadas are the longest living insects on the planet. Beautiful noise they make. I love their sound. History books talks about the wooden clock and the survey of DC. Hardly any information with the cicada. But he noted, starting in 1749, closely observed three more emergence during his lifetime in 1766, 1783, and 1800. And I know it's probably some numbers in there. And summarizes finding his handwritten astronomical journal, a copy which Barbara and Nawanta obtained from the Maryland Center of History. So if I may venture so to express it, wrote Banneker in June 1800, this periodical return is 17 years. But they, like the comet, make but a short stay with us. The female has a sting in her tail, sharp and hard as a thorn, which she proliferates in the branches of the trees, and then in them holes lays eggs. The branch soon dies and falls, and the eggs, by some occult cause, emerges a great depth into the earth. There continues for the space of 17 years. So they come out, get pregnant, and then they lay their eggs in branches. The branches break, and then they burrow into the earth for 17 years. And then here goes. Banneker, whose father was formerly enslaved. I don't believe that's true. I think he came from a free family. And mother, again, they want to throw the mixed heritage, which she could have been mixed tribes, not necessarily. He occasionally attended school by the Quakers, not all the time, so not necessarily. Again, they say he's self-taught. And wasn't introduced to astronomy until he was 57 and borrowed some astronomical equipment and texts from Eliot, a prominent Quaker businessman. They had their eye on him, though. So he immersed himself in the study of astronomy and conceived writing as astronomical almanac to prove the intellectual capacity of Black people, free or not. With backing of Eliot and other abolitionists, Baker published his almanac and sent a copy to Jefferson. Nobody wishes more than I to see such proofs as you exhibit, Jefferson wrote, that nature has given our Black brethren talents equal to those of other men of color, that the appearance of a one of them is owing merely to the degraded condition of existence. So he died in 1806. He was 75 years old. And they set his cabin on fire on purpose. They tried to burn his shit. They tried to cover his shit up so other indigenous people, they couldn't say, well, what about him? You trying to say we not smart? What about him? Yeah. But they were saved. They were saved, and his family. So, yeah, I wanted to put that out. This is how does the Mayan calendar work? Well, I'll read this later. I don't have to read that right now. Because the energies, commies, yeah, that's a good point, PJ, about the rant. Ryan, what do you think of the deep south and what do you think will go down over the summer? That's a tough one because Texas just signed for open carry, so they're scareder than Texas than ever. And we have to be thankful that these people see what they're trying to do. So they're arming Texas, which I love. It's going to go nationwide that you can just carry a gun out all the time, everybody. Now, if you think it's going to be like fucking cowboy days because everybody got guns, it don't work like that. It don't work like that. I mean, again, we've got the young people that don't really have any upbringing, but when they see motherfucker old dude walking around with a gun, they think twice. They don't see. See, when you see a motherfucker walking around with a little a gun on him, you think twice. A lot of times I'll carry a fucking pistol on my side and I have a little pistol in my hand, just walking around with a little pistol in my hand. Like when I'm out, and then I'll stick it in my coat or stick it in my bag. But I'll actually be walking holding a little pistol in my hand. But to me, this gives the message of he ain't a victim. Because he might pop my ass. To me, that's a good give you some protection. Make a motherfucker think twice, though. Same with my homeboy. I borrowed a crossover move from him to put in my repertoire. Uh-oh. So I'm gonna still answer your question. Yeah, fuck Kwame James. I ain't wasting my time. Hey, overstand. But to getting back to today, again, some dumb motherfuckers are still wearing the shit on their face, showing that they didn't get their time. I don't get it. I mean, how can you be that brain stupid? It's like when you go with trick-or-treating, the motherfuckers just leave a thing of candy out and say, take one. And if you're the first person there, of course, you take them all and you leave the note. So it makes to me, it's just like the psychological slavery people are still in. It's the thing that despite the look of freedom, motherfuckers still be like, well, I didn't do it and I need to show people I didn't do it, so I need to be protected from them. Oh man, it's interesting when the tobacco creeps in. It is such a mellow kind of thing. Oh my goodness, let me tell you, I took this hat, this Vietnam era hat, and I've got 6 crystals in the back, and I put them all here. And so when I meditate, I put this like a halo of crystals on. Woo! The shit gets deep, y'all. The shit gets deep, and the energy's being so generous right now. We've got today, tomorrow, we got 3 more days of this energy. So tap in. So getting back, so what do I expect? I think here people gonna go back to work. It's gonna be fine. People gonna make this money. I don't know about inflation, because if inflation hits in the wintertime, again, these in wintertime everybody gasses up. They put the thicker blend of gasoline, and then, people using heat, whichever system of heat you use. And I saw, and I've said this before, I saw the Texas attack with the weather as trying to get them guns. Turn in your guns and we'll heat your place back up. But if the people are smart, they'll start, preparing for that already. Get the little ovens. You can get an oven that'll warm up 900 feet. And so in some instances, that might be all you should warm up is 900 feet. You can cook your food and everything on it. Of course, you got to adapt a little bit, but those type of stoves. I remember old days where people's heater was in their house and they still would warm up stews and shit because they would just have one gas heater in the middle of the room. And that gas heater had a top. And even though they had a stove in the kitchen, they tended to cook the one that would be in the living room. They'd always have a pot of food cooking on that. I don't know if people are old enough to remember them kind. because it's a real thing where people really did blanket up and stuff. You just had one gas heater in the room, and everybody was wearing pajamas and robes and blankets. Remember the golden ticket they were showing the people in the beds? Remember, it was four people, four grown ass motherfuckers in the bed together. Willy Wonka. Well, that was kind of showing how cold it used to be and how people adjusted. So you'd wear clothes in the house and you'd bundle up a little bit, but you did have a heat source and you could survive. So these are ways, again, canned foods can last for years. There's a kind of sickness you can get from eating too much canned food. I know. But better than being hungry. It's better. So I see things really going the way they're going to get this bread, because they've crushed a lot of small businesses. And so these big businesses are going to keep doing well. I mean, what did fucking the crypto shit be? The crypto shit dropped to I was like, damn. Crypto's down to 39 from 59. So we're looking at it only gained in the last 7 days, it only lost $141. So that's not really that bad. But again, if you had the high of 59, you bought in at 59, you rode the wave into 39. And then the gold, caught a little bit of gold and gas. Shit, gold did well. Gold was up $18 to over $1,900. Time to buy gold. Now is the time to buy gold. Gold is up. Even silver is up 27 cents at $28. So it closed 14 cents more. What's the bag of silver still 21 grand. So it ain't really, it's up $198. So if you spend 21 grand to get 90% US coins, you made $198. Yeah, it ain't really mint. I've been saying this one pretty much. The maple leaf is up there at 30. So watch your money, y'all. Watch your money. Hey, Dread, thank you for joining me. So that's what I think is going to happen. I don't think much going to change, really. I think they're going to ride this for a couple of years to try to get the midterms, to get old dude elected again. And so you're going to see a kind of a holding pattern the next year and a half to the mid-year, where they want to, but they're probably going to do like they did Obama, where he went in having everybody and he lost the midterms. That's kind of how they did Obama. That's kind of seems to be their guide thing. Remember the Tea Party that don't exist anymore? And that was the excuse. That was the movement that split the house for Obama. If you sell out, there's a consequence in the afterlife. Definitely. Because you selling for the flesh, as they say. You selling for now. Most motherfuckers don't want eternity. I mean, think about a 15-year-old that only know hustling, strife, no real family life. I think Craig Fax and them said it is, how many young dudes really want to get married anymore? Have families? Shit, my children, I bought my first house 24, 25. I was married at 26. First child at 29, which is old to have children, but I'm saying I owned a house at 25. My first house I bought at 25. Now, I can't say any of my children are in the position where they could buy a house right now. Even my oldest one, that'll be 32 in August. I don't think he's quite there. Oops. And this was when I just had, I didn't even have my 2-year degree then. I was just hustling. So, but thank you for joining. My grandma used to help her brothers chop wood for the fireplace. Absolutely. You know, you would know people, and that's where the barter system works. You knew somebody had some wood, they give you a couple cords, and you could go, basically, you could really calculate how much wood you would need or how much gas you needed. So this is kind of a way it used to be. So I see this summer, these next 2 years as being, if the normal is over, but being close to that as we can see. There's going to be some of that we're going to see. We're going to see them make all this bread. And then, they're going to tease us and bring the shit back and say, you need one more every year. Come take your hit every year. And it's like, you miss those, you can still take the hit every year. Oh, yeah, and chopping wood is really, that's really, I love wood. I really do. Being born from the trees, being born out of the water tree, having a place for me in trees. I love wood. I mean, I'm sitting on oak here. I don't know what these are made. I know this bar stool here next is oak. That little table's got, I don't know what the fuck that is. And these are just some white pines. But this table I'm on is oak. It's an oak table. If I cleaned it and stained it, it would really turn out pretty decent. But somebody painted these stupid ass, all this oak, they painted it white on the bottom. And it just takes up too much room. I just got it in my junk area. But she was the only female doing it. Yeah, but it made her self-sufficient. I mean, this is what they try to tell you in the South, that, all the men left, and so they just had to work. The women had to work. But, it was a lot of them brothers that fought for the South. And you can look it up. Look at all the Mexican generals we had from the South of Texas. Just look that up. What do you think their units was? Do you think their units was all Spanish looking dudes from Mexico? Look at the generals up, and then look at the North. The North had over 70 generals from Europe. 70 generals from Europe. Robert E. Lee was a Mason too. And once Robert E. Lee took control of the Southern Army, they lost. Gettysburg was the jumping out point to take D.C., and then the other army was going to come up. Grant was tied up in the West. You freaking win Gettysburg, you got their ass. Grant's going to have to pull out and go back to defend D.C. so he can no longer fuck around and try to get Vicksburg and cut the South in two. So do you see the importance of Gettysburg? As soon as you didn't have the high ground, you pull out. You never send a fucking brigade of 20-some thousand men across where the fucking cannons is just coming. Who does that? Unless you want to lose. You never attack from the less superior. You never want to attack uphill. They could have bypassed all that and got on better ground. When Johnston was in charge of the South, Fredericksburg, one example, they was fighting from the hills. So why would you trade your strategy? Well, see, Grant wasn't there to win. Grant was there to destroy. Lee was there to destroy the Southern Army. He wasn't trying to win. He was not trying to win. And I think they was trying to poison his ass to get his ass out of there because he had 2 or 3 heart attacks while he was supposed to be running the army. He's having heart attacks. I think they went after his ass because they saw what he was doing. So the history's been a lie. And that glory shit, even though, 3 of my family members fought for the North. That was some bullshit. They was lied to. All the Northern people was lied to. They attacking something they ain't really know what they was attacking. You was trying to make a better life for somebody else, not necessarily the people that live down there. Because they had something so strong. A lot of these bankers was cut off of that shit. The South was richer than the North. And the North was doing basically the smokestack society. They was turning into that. But the South had more money. So it had nothing to do with slavery. Again, it was a lot of European slaves at the time. It had something to do with them bankers wanting to control something they didn't have control of. So they made this lie and this narrative. PNN put a beautiful thing about the birth of a nation, kind of shows that the fight was brothers against Northern Europeans. I had never caught that before. But that's kind of what the birth of a nation shows you, who they fought. Well, that was a lot of reconstruction. But see, they made indigenous people the fall guys. What are the words? What is the Reconstruction words? I'm blanking out. I'm blanking out. It'll come to me in a minute. But there were words under Reconstruction that talked about these Northerners trying to steal his land for free. They put a Freemen's Bureau down there, and you know all the Freemen's Bureau would end up with all these land grants and get burned. I mean, look what Sherman did his March to the Sea. He went after places that held land grants and had titles and papers, and this is what they burned. Like part of my family couldn't go past Atlanta, the burning of Atlanta, because they burned up a lot of them records. If any of you did your research, a lot of times you'll come to dead end because it'll lead you to Atlanta. So they wanted to get rid of that too. So this slavery shit, that's some fairy tale shit. Uncle Tom's Cabin. And I want you to know that the peoples was owning a lot of them lands, and it was like working anywhere. It blows people's minds to know that you could get the fuck up and say, motherfucker, I'm not working for you no more. I can go over there and work. They got better conditions. You can get up and take your family over there. Well, no. They could break your family up and sell your children. Okay, what did they show in 12 Years a Slave? What did they show? The one chick had their children taken away. It made her go crazy. She couldn't be a functioning person anymore. So how often do you think they're going to do that? Sounds bad, but say you do take that child, and that child do the same thing, get depressed, won't work for you. No matter how much you beat him, no matter how much you try to force shit to make him drink, what good is that? What good are those two people right there? If they both stuck with grief. So you think they was trying to do that too much? But see, it sounds good. It sounds terrible. Oh, the South was so terrible. The winners write the history, remember. The winners write the history. What do you think about the Knicks series, Trailblazers? They like the Trailblazers. They like Dame Dollar. Again, Dame Dollar has taken the place of Steph these last few years. Trae Young is getting a little bit of that in the East. Dame Dollar seemed to be a lovable loser too. I don't see them going very far, but they like him. Dame is just like Chris Paul. What have they won to get all these commercials? Dame, Chris Paul commercials, he got older commercials than Steph. What if it's Chris Paul won? But see, it gives you the likable little guy. Because most people, it's hard for them. It's a dream to be tall as LeBron. That's a dream. If you're only 5'11" or 6 foot. But you look at Steph and Chris Paul, you can identify with that. You can identify with that. They're not putting that 7-footer in your face and saying you can never be good because you never can be 7 foot. But they can put 6 foot Chris Paul in your face and you're like, it might be worth investing in basketball. Which, as anybody caught my phone call with my best friend, it's a better investment to get your own jig machine. If you want receivers, have a machine that can throw them balls. Have a machine that can shoot them balls up in the air, teach them how to catch punts. That's an investment. My best friend's son is in 10th grade. Because I kept telling him, like, man, because I said about a year ago, I'm like, man, one of them jig machines, see if you can find a used one. He found one for $1,500. So now his son can get a nice hard ball thrown at him. Consistent speed. Because being a receiver is nothing but catching. I would catch, how would I start? 100 by myself right hand, 100 by myself left hand, 100 high balls, 100 low balls. I mean, it was like I would catch almost 1,000 balls a day. So I had to have rotating guys come in and throw me the ball. I had like 5 or 6 high schoolers that would come throw me the ball. So I'd have them rotating. My freshman year, I ran a park. I couldn't work at General Motors. I told that story before. I anticipated making $20 an hour back in '80. And GM stopped letting interns work because they was cutting back on the auto industry. So instead of making $20 an hour, I think I settled for making, I don't even think I was making $4 an hour working in the park. But I took advantage of the time. Had guys coming in there throwing balls to me, running around the park. running patterns, running sprints. So I took advantage of the free time, and I macked on this older chick that was teaching. I macked on her. I was about, I think I turned 21, maybe 20. I turned 20, and she was 25 or 26, and so she was like her first or second year teaching, maybe third. Yeah, I had to mac on her, seeing her every day, and I'm charming. So that's just how you do it. Oh, thank you, James. Steve, what's happening? Do you think about the Knicks? Oh, I answer you. So I said this before. The Knicks, damn. The Knicks was the most successful franchise in the world. Before all this stuff hit, the Knicks was the more successful than the Cowboys. So didn't matter if the Knicks win or lose. It's good for basketball for the Knicks to be competitive because New York is looked at as the basketball mecca, again, hosting the first ball game there. So it's good money, it's good business to make New York involved. That was all really Union did, is kept the interest in the Knicks. Even though they wasn't going to let him win. Again, the Knicks ain't won since 73. They only won 2 titles. But it seems like the league needs that interest in the Knicks. So it's good business to make the Knicks competitive. Yep. You slick. You ain't supposed to be on. I didn't know what happened to my notification. Okay, Key. Well, I didn't. Well, I knew. Right now it's the day out of time. It's the 26th. It's May 26th, so it is the day out of time. Not 0 day, but it is the day out of time in the 13-month calendar. Is the 26th. Also, the full moon is coming in at 6:30 my time this morning. So the energies are going to be stronger. And, I tend to want to do my full moon. Again, I make sounds every day, so I'm not going to do any more. And then it is, Wednesday morning. I got people under me that work, so I'm not pounding on stuff. I'm not doing all that. But so I give out sounds every day, and I give out vibrations every day. So you can replay it and check it out. So that's why I came on today. Because, again, we're going to be immersed in the full moon. I'm not going to take tomorrow off. I will come on tomorrow as well. Because, again, it's going to be still full moon energies going. I might take my normal Thursday morning off. We'll see. So, yeah, that's why I came on. So I'm sorry. I came on earlier, though. I was testing the equipment earlier. So I did come on earlier and tell people I was coming on. So sorry you didn't get that notification. Exactly, like in the 90s. Oh, okay, Key. Hey, Ziggy. The year the Eagles won the Super Bowl, Carson Wentz played 13 games, threw 33 touchdowns, Freemason. Well, that's all NFL is about. That's all the NFL is about. The NFL, no, not the NFL, but the college field, and I don't know if even Zach Hubbard ever talks about this, but if you watch the movie Jim Thorpe All-American, back when, because Jim Thorpe played against he played against 2 presidents. He played against Gerald R. Ford, and he played against Dwight Eisenhower at West Point. Gerald Ford went to Michigan, but Jim Thorpe played against both of them. But it was like Burt Lancaster plays him, but they showed that the field used to be a checkerboard. So what could be more Mason than a checkerboard? Watch that movie, Jim Thorpe All-American, when he's playing at a Carlisle, I think it was called, an Indian school. And he was called Bright Bear. And Jim Thorpe, the guy played pro football. Let's back up. The guy was an Olympic champion that the king of Sweden told him he was the greatest athlete in the world that played pro baseball and played pro football. It's hard. I know they gave it to Michael Jordan in the 1900s and Ali, but it's hard to argue. Well, they said the first 50 years, from 1900 to 1950, Jim Thorpe was definitely the best athlete that it came around. But again, the talent, and he wasn't a terribly talented baseball player. He couldn't hit the curve, so that's why he only played 4 or 5 years. But his athletic ability in the field, and if he got on base, to steal. So he was he had a ability. But this is a bad dude. The only persons to ever hit a home run and a touchdown in the same day is Jim Thorpe and Deion Sanders. They are the only players to hit to score a touchdown, hit a home run. in the same day is Deion Sanders and Jim Thorpe. So that tells you how bad he was. So, but yeah, look up that movie and you'll see the checkerboard. So from the very beginning, it's and baseball is nothing but a square and compass, but it's the corruption of the continuous ball game created by the Hero Twins. Again, lacrosse is the oldest game of the continuation game of the Hero Twins. Is lacrosse is the game in its rawest form, in its oldest form. Its oldest form would be lacrosse. Just like the calendar, like I was about to read something about the calendar. The calendar was practiced not just by the omen, but it was practiced all up and down. The Aztecs adapted it. They copied the calendar. Aztecs. They copied it. So they just put their names or gave new names, but they copied it just like the Romans copied the Greeks' gods and put their names on it. It's very similar. I don't believe in anything. I do not believe in anything. I know, and I'm glad you brought it up. Again, communication has always been done. Take these rings off. And, that's why I sent that thing out to try to get people, you can use something like this or even paint a mirror black as long as it gives you this. Or like Bobby Hemmett said, you can even use this. And you can just expand your mind. You can work on something like this, black it out a little more. But if you even like take a crayon and get the shiny part, really write it in where you got a lot of wax here, it'll work. The thing is you can get your children and you can get these and you can start seeing how you can telepathically use this. And then this will enhance visions. So if you want to get spiritual enough to enhance visions, this can enhance visions too. So this is an American thing that was started in the Americas. Imagine the Omen did it because again, the Aztecs only copied when they came down from North America. But yes, mirror work is definitely I sent one mirror to my brother and I sent the other one to Crazy Sarge. One of them mirrors had the Omen in it. So I saw two separate sets of Omen in one of the mirrors. I can't tell you which one. I told them both. I was like, if you run into that energy, don't freak out because it's in one of those. And so you can see entities. I guess you call the entities aliens, but they can appear in the mirror work. As I've told the story before, right before one of my first Omen heads came, they visited me first in this mirror and in a dream. And then I've told the story before. I'm in the mirror and I see an Omen with a beard, which I never had ran across as much as I studied. But then my catalog from the LA collection, there it is, the one they call the Traveler. So mirror work is a kind of a thing that will work for you. And it will enhance visions. It will give you, your visions will come more. And so it's a way to work on your spirituality. I mean, there's several ways, And pendulum work is another way. I talked about this the other night. How do you want to get ley lines? You work with a pendulum. You find the ley lines in your place. So when you do manifest, you want to manifest in the strongest lines. And remember I was telling you that they park where my ley line is? Sure enough, there's a car in the parking where the ley line is. So, I adapt. You can't just be inflexible, but so I know mirrors work. I've worked with mirrors for the last 5 years, which isn't long. Hey, Valerie, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. So, yeah, Ryan, I do know that mirrors will work for you. Knicks lost to the Rockets in the 94 finals. Yep. Rockets won a year later. Spurs beat the Knicks in 99. Yep. Spurs like 4 years later. Pacers lost to the Lakers in 2000. Lakers won. That's easy way to look at it. Back in 01 and 02, so what was wrong with the Knicks and Pacers winning the championship? The Pacers won't win because of their ABA affiliate. Again, what ABA team won the championship? NBA championship. What ABA team won? None. Let me think. San Antonio. That's the only 8. Yeah. If the Nets won this year, they would be the second ABA team to win. If the Nets won, because remember, the Nets was the New Jersey Nets, New York Nets. Spurs, yeah, that's what I said. Spurs. Spurs is the only ABA team to win. So I don't think the Pacers are going to win because of the ABA. I don't think so. Like the Lions will never win. But yep, the Spurs is the only one. If the Nets did win this year, they would be the second. Because, yeah, they only took Indiana, the Spurs, Indiana, Denver. Denver's another one. I don't know if they're going to ever let Denver win one. So I think only 4 teams made it. Nets, Denver, Spurs, Nuggets. Yeah, only those 4 teams. And the Pacers. Pacers, too. Didn't I say the Pacers? So I don't think because of that, I don't think it's anything wrong, but just the way they put things together. Again, small market, though. Very small market. And as I said about the Knicks are like Detroit Lions. The Knicks don't need to win for the NBA and the sport to be successful. The Knicks are going to make money, win or lose. That's why Dolan was right. I mean, again, they are the most. They're the biggest franchise in all of sports, I do believe. I think they're even bigger than the Cowboys as far as making money before all this was closed down. It was the Knicks. So they don't really need to win for the NBA to win. They just need them to be competitive. So because the Knicks ain't won it since 73. They won it in 69, 70, 73, 74, I think. And then Boston won it the year after that. They like dynasties. The NBA is always like dynasties. I mean, remember, the early basketball was 8 in a row by the Celtics. And the Celtics, they lost in 59 when Bob Pettit turned it out. He scored 50. They talk about how good Bill Russell's defense was. Watch the game when the St. Louis Hawks play. I think it's game 6. And Bob Pettit scores 59 on Bill Russell. 59 on Bill Russell. Bob Pettit, 6'9", 6'10", could run. 59 on Bill Russell. So, yeah, Bill Russell was this great Hall of Famer defense. Watch that 59 championship. Bob Pettit put that work in on him. And he played center. Bill Russell was only 6'8", 6'9". Remember that. But Bob Pettit was like 6'9", 6'10". And he turned Bill Russell out. He scored 59 on him. And then they gave Wilt one in 66, 67, or 67, 68, I forget. They gave Wilt one. And Wilt only won 2. And that's that thing where lovable loser again. Well, Wilt was the bad guy. That's what that was about. They made Wilt the bad guy. Like LeBron was the bad guy against Dallas. He was the bad guy against the Spurs with Danny Green. Dr. J. Dr. J went to the NBA Finals, what? 79 to 85? No, Boston beat him in the Eastern Conference Finals a couple of years. But Dr. J was up in there every year. And then they let him win it, and he won 2 in the ABA, and then Dr. J won in 83. 4-5-4. 4-5-4. And I broke down that beautifully with Kwame Brown and comparing to Moses Malone or Spencer Haywood. They was both the same age. And just abilities, better skilled players. Tom Brady getting that knee that was tore up. He's coming back from that. But again, you can't really tackle him anymore. It's glorified touch in some ways. So he'll be able to just stand back there and they don't get him. You can tell when his time is over, though, he'll get sacked more and more. And he'll get sacked to the point where he can't play. But until then, Tom Brady is just like LeBron. He is the meal ticket. And they're going to ride him. I mean, Tom Brady probably want to retire. It ain't about money, and it can't be about winning anymore. They scripted you, what, 7? So it ain't about winning. It's like they need him. It's like Rodgers. They need Rodgers still to play. So Rodgers going to end up getting a great deal right before watch. Watch the deal Rodgers gets. And it's all a game. It's all a game. They was looking at, the amount of practice that he would skip. He'd miss like they always do this. Like players won't come into camp and they'll fine them 200,000-300,000. And you notice right before they're signed, they're like, well, we'll sweep that under the rug. You won't have to pay those fines. Let's just sweep those away. Well, before it gets too long, let me read the divinations today. On the running calendar, it is 13 platoons, 0 platoons, 8 tunes, 9 uno, and 18 kin. And 18 kin is Astabaz, Hall of Mirrors, Ritual Pattern of North, No Time, Ritual Stroke, Ritual Knife, Sword of Wisdom and Purification. If you want to manifest, the energy is coming out of the north. And it is also called Flit, Tapato. In this image, we see a Yanni with the symbols of self-sacrifice in his left hand and a symbol with Kato, a big pendant on his chest. On top, we see sky full of carved flints, signifying how everything concerning the individual is connected with the higher realms of the cosmos. From these higher realms, a protective hand descends. The means of the Yanni is protected. This means that the Yanni is protected because of the development of his higher awareness. Tepakado represents the enhanced awareness, like a mirror, reflects the harmonious existence of the cosmic totality. It also represents the power and wellness that arise from living in a harmonious connection with what is higher, and both the physical manifestation as the universe and the spiritual dimension as a unifying, sustaining force in the universe. This force is known among the Toltecs as Sonoto, the sacred unity. Tekato also applies attention or effort for the carved flint or knife to cut open its way to achieve fulfillment of given tasks. In a spiritual sense, Tekapato represents not only higher awareness, but specifically the effort you have to make to achieve such higher awareness. It also represents the effort to live a purposeful life, which in turn promotes the achievement of higher awareness. These two reciprocal efforts sustain each other in what we call a sacred sustaining system. But for the efforts of the knife to succeed at opening its way, the flint first needs to be carved and polished. For you, this means to achieve your full strength, you have to carve and polish yourself. This is consistent with the Toltec concept of human development, which is expressed in the old advice of the elders. Sculpt for yourself a real face and develop your soul so that you can see others and be seen by them. For your higher goal to be achieved, first you should develop yourself to have a real face. Then you must be persistent and sustain your efforts to the higher direction, so you can open your way to achieve your highest dreams. In other words, direct your efforts to both the inner work and also the external world. Trying to achieve something really vulnerable by focusing outside yourself would be senseless, because the way you experience life is a result of the dynamic and hopefully harmonious interaction between the two realms of your existence. Therefore, you have to carve and polish the flint first, and then learn to direct it to your higher goal with sustained intent in your actions. If my point of view, plans, or mind maps are not effective, is it possible that I have not taken in the time to develop them? Is it my plan or goal that is wrong, or do I need to refine one or both? In my work, is there a situation, relationship, or project that I am rejecting just because I don't like it in its current form? Is there any positive, powerful possibilities that situation that I am not noticing? How can I work on this situation so that the power and benefits that hide within it can be unleashed? So hopefully that is helpful going into your Wednesday, which is again the day out of time. Oh, and the end of the 12th, fifth sun, excuse me. So the new sun is born today, the new sun. It's also the coming of the sixth sun. So the simulator I've been seeing, it's the new sun now. We probably won't even catch the old sun. You don't have to like LeBron and Brady, which I don't like them to But them two, our money, well, that's the ticket that they jumped from Michael Jordan and they went right to LeBron, and that's what they like. You can see how they've done it through history. They've done the same plan over and over again. So they make who they want to be stars. Again, Steph is only successful because again they're trying to eliminate big dudes. Now that's great. What I've been seeing this year is bigger guys are involved, but if the Steph thing held up, it's getting rid of big dudes. Big guys can't even get jobs anymore. It's like what I was saying with Kwame Brown. Big guys tend to work forever because bigger dudes seem to be able to play forever. Robert Parrish played, I think, 20 years, 7-footer. Now, he wasn't very effective the years he was with the Bulls, but the guy played. I think he played the most. John Havlicek, I think, played 15, 16 years. He played. He got cut by the Cleveland Browns before he went to Boston out of Ohio State. He played football and basketball at Ohio State. So it wasn't an accident he ended up with the Celtics. Carve and polish, higher self. That's it. That is it, Overstand. It's like nurturing how are you nurturing something? You have to nurture it to bring it to fruition. So it takes time to. Spirituality is not you go to church and read the book and all of a sudden you've got the fever. It don't really work like that. It's funny, I did all this thing reporting about the local stuff here. Oh, and I cut myself off, so I couldn't sleep last night. So I went down into town. I was looking for something, and I thought, well, I'm near here, and it is Floyd's Day. Let's see. And again, you got to park a long way over there now. I can park anywhere in the city for 4 hours with my handicap thing. So I had a nice little walk, but I wasn't going to be out down there. And the gunshots had just happened when I went down there. And I was wrong on my thing. It's 38th and Elliott, so it's the street over. But it's all right there. It's hard to explain. Well, it's not hard, but it's just like it's all right there together. And so, again, that's why I made the video. I knew who did it because this is their goal now. Their goal is to cause chaos. So they show their value. And if I said before, in all them shots, you didn't see no cops around there. About 10 blocks over there on the south side, they don't patrol anymore. I talked about the girl got assaulted. They ain't take her home. She had to walk. The girl that got raped after they brought her back from the hospital, she had to go walk. They don't go in those areas anymore. And they're doing that a lot. And then they're blaming they ain't got enough officers. We got a lot of money down, the south side, up from there. A lot of the million, like less than a mile from where Floyd got killed. It's a bunch of the $1 million houses around the lake. You think the cops ain't going around the $1 million houses? Like right on the south side, kind of southwest Minneapolis, there's two big lakes: Lake Harriet, Lake Carlisle, Lake Harriet, Lake Calhoun. Ain't nothing but $1 million cribs back in there. You thinking they having problems? And they're less than a mile from Floyd. That's kind of the barrier. They don't go where all these melanated people and working class people live. There's a lot of working class Europeans in the state or in this side of town. And even going a little further south, $500,000, $1 million houses going, to the borders of Minneapolis and Bloomington. You think they having problems with police showing up? No. It's only the melanated areas. So it shows you how corrupt they are. And they cry that they don't have enough men. They cry. They got 600 cops. It's more than enough. More than enough. Minneapolis proper only basically has 380 million thousand people. Excuse me, not million, thousand people. So 600 is more than enough. Because you got state running around here. You got sheriffs running around here. So you don't mention all that. It's plenty. But they attack on these other areas. It is sad. The dude that makes the videos, which I do think he's a cop, though, or he has some kind of affiliate that talks about the black crime. That's a real thing. I've talked about even my own living out here in these suburbs. I've got into it with brothers. Ain't none of these Europeans out here gave me any troubles. And where I live, it's probably 1 or 2%. Now, there's a couple melanated families that, well, almost all the people live in this building is pretty much melanated. I've got some natives that live under me, native that lives next to me, and under is a girl from, she's not from Iran. She's the people he gassed. Because her daddy was the original Shaw. What was his name? Shaw. He was a wrestler with Hulk Hogan, and then is her daddy. The Iron Shaw. Iron Shaw, I think, was her dad's name. Old dude in his 60s, almost 70 now. So that generation. Iron Sheik, that's his name. Her daddy is the Iron Sheik. They're not from Iran. They're from the something with the K, the mountain people. That is where she's from. I can't think of the name of the area, but it's the people that what's his name, gassed. She's from there. Khmer's, something like that. I can't think of the name of it. If Brady wins another one, he will be 8-3 in Super Bowls. His birthday is 8-3. That's a good point. That is a good point. So yeah, so these are just some things to consider. Just some things to consider. That's about all I had. I didn't want to do a whole bunch of reading. I guess I could read about citrine though. So again, this is the since the moon is upon us, citrine is a moon, a perfect like stone that likes bathing in the moon. And let's see. Oh yeah. Here we go. This is something be aware of. See, this ain't real citrine right here. This is what's called baked citrine. So what they do is they take amethyst, and if you stick amethyst in the stove, it'll turn like this. So when you see it like this, more than likely it's baked, not really natural. I'm even wondering about this piece, and this piece could be, but this piece definitely is treated citrine. It's definitely treated. So you don't want to get it looking like that. This shit ain't cheap. I got this on when he had the half off sales, but this was like 110, and I got it 50% off. I'd had my eye on it for a minute. So this shit ain't cheap, and then that's, it naturally occurred like this. Terminator. I think this has rainbows, a couple rainbows in it too. This is like the perfect crystal just for your hand. If it wasn't so fragile, I'd carry it all the time. Just like, the Germans had them scepters and shit. What's in your hand? It's fucking crystal to zap your ass. So it's a powerful cleanser and regenerator, carrying the power of the sun. This is exceedingly beneficial stone. It is warming, energizing, and highly creative. This is one of the crystals that never needs cleansing. It absorbs and transmutes and dissipates and grounds negative energy and therefore extremely protective for the environment. Citrine energizes every level of life, an aura protector. It acts as an early warning sign so that action can be taken to protect oneself. It has the ability to cleanse the chakras, especially the solar plex and navel. It activates the crown and opens intuition. It cleanses and balances the subtle bodies, aligning them with the physical. It is a stone of abundance. This dynamic stone teaches how to manifest, attract wealth, prosperity, success, and all good things. Yet it helps you hold on to your wealth. It has the power to impact joy to all that behold. Gloom and negativity have no place around citrine. It's useful stone for soothing group or family discord. Psychologically, citrine raises self-esteem and self-confidence and removes destructive tendencies, enhances individuality, improves motivation, activates creativity, encourages self-expression. It makes you less sensitive, especially to criticism, encourages acting on constructive criticism, helps you develop a positive attitude and to look forward optimistically, going with the flow instead of hanging on to the past. This stone promotes enjoyment of new experiences and encourages and exploring every possible avenue till you find the best solution. And this is kind of cool that she did this. And I'll say, if you do get you get baked citrine, this is a good thing to do with it. It's called a wealth corner. And what you do is you try to put it the farthest, It says the wealth corner is the furthest back left point from your front door or the door to an individual room. So you can kind of work that around to see. For me, it would be northwest. Yeah, kind of northwest for me. And I do have some baked citrine on my northwest corner. And the awakened one, I asked her to set up the same kind of thing, and she said it was effective for her too. So, yeah, the Iron Sheik was her daddy. Max are going to fuck around and sweep the Clippers, which I predicted. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised though. They again. That's why. Okay, they were supposed to be the super team. They had a better team last year than they do this year, and look at them struggling. And so I think, yeah, they're going to give them the same shaming. Kawhi got his championship. He got 3. So I think Paul George is going to be the lovable loser again. Again, he took that bullet from Dame. So when I saw that, I'm like, yeah, they picked him and not him. So, and even Dame, they only going to let him go so far. My third eye has been tingling lately. Is there a reason for that? Is there something you recommend to do? Well, again, we have the day out of time is going to be the rest of the day, and that could be we have great energies from this full moon, so you could be sensitive to these energies that are coming around. Again, we're in the 3rd day of how they started, and then we've got 2 more days of this energy, so that you could be sensitive to this. Absolutely. Hope they don't ban these damn cigars. I'm starting to really like them. But it's funny sucking on these things, and I'm buzzed. I be buzzed every night, most of the time. I had to find me a new source. If the Clippers fall this one, I don't want to hear them talking about how Kawhi is the best player in the league. I mean, he got exposed. Taller dudes have always given him trouble. He's a short range dude that they basket manipulation help his threes because that's really all his game really is mid game. And so yeah, he's not that great. And I really think Kawhi is slightly autistic as well. And you can be functioning autistic. But just his lack of self-expression, you never see it. Everybody's cool, but you just can't be that not you never see him just overly happy, overly mad. He's always like, but I guess we could say the same thing about Wiggins. He's never on an emotional roller coaster. He's either kind of in the middle. But I agree, Valerie. I agree that he's not the best player. They still hanging their hat on LeBron, I think. I just look at the money and the excitement, and you again 15 plus at most places, except in Canada. Canada, you watching the hockey games in Canada, and still people ain't up there watching, and they still are like England was. So he looks like it always had that deer in the headlights look. Just his laugh was Remember they kept playing that all last year. I mean, there's nothing real about the brother, and he seems so artificial. So it's not hard to have these kind of attitudes about it. And it's not saying that he ain't functional. It's like functional illiterate was a thing. I've said before, most papers was wrote at a 5th grade reading level. Magazines, still today, newspapers don't really exist anymore unless you're reading articles online. But even magazines only about a 5th grade reading level. So we got a functional illiterates. But this is the thing. You could be a functional illiterate and work the same job forever. I met a janitor dude, and that's all he did all his life. And the dude was basically more than slow. But, they told him a few things to do, and he could do it. And he's probably, this guy I'm talking about, probably got a pretty good pension because he's working for the college. It's like one dude when I was working for the college, when I was a cop at the college, there was one dude I worked for. He had the most degrees. This guy had the most degrees of anybody in the nation. He was actually in the Guinness Book of World Records for holding the most college degrees. And he was a ticket writer. Like we wrote parking tickets. You know, colleges is everywhere. You can motherfucker park and you write tickets all day. But there was a department that just wrote tickets, parking tickets. They call if they need help, motherfucker, run up on them. But that's this dude. I think I was making back in 1980. I was making 12 as a cop. He was probably making 14 or 15. But he didn't do anything with his degrees but write tickets. That's all he did. All these degrees, he never did anything else but write tickets. And this dude was a little older than me, so I imagine he's retired by now and got a pretty good pension, but not as any of his academia. He did nothing with it. He was addicted to going to school and getting degrees, but he didn't do anything with the degrees. Plus, working for the college gave you a break on classes was cheaper per hour. You work for the college, yeah. I took classes. My friend that worked there for 14 years, he took classes. Well, they're all taking classes. It was so cheap. Let me say this too. Hey, so at the university, they get mad. They was getting mad. Motherfucking students get mad because at the university, some of them classes is $200 per class or per hour, some shit like that. When I get 62 or 63, I can take classes at the university for $10 a credit hour. So I think I'm going to go back to school then. Whatever the age is, I'm going to go back to school. It ain't that far a drive. Give me a little degree in some shit. Help whatever business venture I'm going to keep doing. Get me a degree in doing this, philosophizing. Give me a degree in spirituality. Then I'll be doctorate in. You got to continue to grow and learn. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. You can learn every day. You really should learn a little bit of something every day. Yeah. But it's been beautiful up here. We got an 80-degree day again today. I didn't have my daughter, so ate terrible. I ate a couple. It tastes pretty good though. Ate some. I ate very little pork, but I had some. Somebody gave me some hot Polish sausage that they made, and they were good. They were very good. Hot Italian, excuse me, not Polish. Hot Italian. Yeah. Makes me want to make a big pot of spaghetti tomorrow and because I've got some. I'll put in the fridge and cut them up and put it in this pot of spaghetti. But my daughter doesn't like spaghetti. She likes goulash. But I think tomorrow we're just making burgers. Burgers and cook me some fresh vegetables. I got some green beans, some pea pods. Cook that stuff for her. $10 a class. Yeah, at the University of Minnesota, which is, I remember my son and I made a bet like $30-40. I had looked up, so I knew, but Minnesota had the biggest amount of people attending it for some years in a row. It was like 60,000 people attended the U. More than Michigan, more than Ohio State. Michigan State is actually a bigger campus than Michigan's. Michigan State is East Lansing. It's a whole side of town, basically. But those of you from Ohio, you know that Columbus is Ohio State. But per student, University of Minnesota had more students. And my son was very mad about that bet. Now, I don't know if that's still true today, but at one time it was true. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to do that. My friend, that's kind of the department he runs too. So, but it's interesting. I didn't have a foreign language in high school or college, so I have to take a foreign language. But they have a Black History class that you can take as a foreign language. Isn't that some shit? You can take Black History as a foreign language. So instead of me having to take Spanish or any of that bullshit, I can take Black History. Isn't that some shit? Black History is considered a foreign language. She asked, does a day out of time mean? Oh, I'm sorry. What does the day out of time mean? I'll try to give you a little reference because let me see if I can bring it back up here. Yeah. Um, well, okay. A lot of it comes from the law of time, which is a universal law and principle. It states that time is a universal factor of synchronization. Now, another part of the day out of time is the 1320 synchronization, which is actually let me get it right here. That's the most important of all this chart is this area right in here, which is the rhythm of 13. It goes to 13 months, 20 days. Now another calendar said 28 days, but the vibration is 1320. And so on one of the Mayan calendars, what you have is as it goes into the next year or the next maybe, you have which is considered almost 0 day. And so you have a day where there's technically no time, there's no date. It's a clear 0 day, and that's called the day out of time. So it's like a gift before the new calendar or the new year starts. So instead of going right into the new year, 5, 4, no, it's you got a whole day that is considered the day out of time. So that is why it's looked at as the day out of time, which is the day of the dance. Again, it's one of the best ways to participate in it is dancing sometime during the day out of time. So it's a day where, the New Year's, so it's kind of a day where the old year hasn't left, the new year hasn't started. So it's those type of energies. And that's why it's considered a true 0 day, which they call the day out of time. From the law of time. So yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't answer. So that's the benefit of it. And I'll say this is everybody watch the breakdown, watch the funky chicken, watch those 10, 15 minutes of Watstax. Because that saved us as a people. People don't understand what that moment meant. And the moment is so important. I've said this over and over again. If you want to see a living goddess, you want to see one of these entities that take over somebody's body, you see the divine feminine is the young girl in the red dress that later danced on Soul Train. She was taken over by the divine feminine because they like showing off like that. They can't wait to dance the divine feminine in a little hot little mini dress. Oh, it loves that. And being in a movie, yeah, that's the divine feminine. So, but connecting to those energies, which is the closest thing we can understand is the ghost dance. A lot of people, which was outlawed by the Europeans, which the ghost dance goes back into even touching into Haiti. I've said that before. Whereas when the Europeans left Haiti, they was like, hey, it's something stabbing me and hatcheting us, and it wasn't no bodies. It was just these damn hatchets and swords and knives coming out of nowhere. So it's an energy that was practiced all up and down the Americas. So, and I just happen to be a cat, part of the time walking. You didn't know Marvin Gaye was a swinger? Marvin Gaye, his daddy was a cross dresser and a preacher, but that's why he spelled his name with an E, because he didn't want it because his daddy was a cross dresser. But Marvin Gaye, Richard Pryor, Marlon Brando, all them cats, they were into it. And Marvin Gaye never stepped into the movie making side, but he was on the music side. And so, yeah, Marvin Gaye. Isn't that Quincy Jones that said that Marvin Gaye popped both Richard Pryor and Marvin Gaye? Isn't that Quincy Jones said that? and remember, Marvin Gaye came out of Berry Gordy's thing. So we know, like, think about what they did to David Ruffin. When David Ruffin got fired by the Temptations, he got fired. And he still had to give up to get a new contract because he only had one hit after that, Walk Away from Love. But he had to give up all his rights to the Temptations. He didn't go to a new record label. He stayed with Motown, which was stupid. but he gave up all his rights to the music that he sung on the beginning of the Temptations, so he could continue his career with Motown. That's how dirty Berry Gordy was that they did to David Ruffin. And David Ruffin was what was the Temptations? Melvin. It was his cousin. He threw him under the bus in the movie. In the movie, like, don't say, well, these motherfuckers is my cousin. We all came from the same area. No. He acts like they didn't know David and Jimmy Ruffin. And these motherfuckers is their cousins. That's how dirty they wrote. Stevie Wonder. My mother always says she thought he was older than what they, because again, I've told the story that Stevie, I was about 2 and he held me and he was trying to show me little rhythms and shit, playing with me, tapping on the desk, and I would imitate him, but took an interest in me. And my mother said he was like 12, and she said he was more like 14, 15. She thought maybe even 16. And they were saying he was like 12, but she thought he was older. Did Stevie go through that? It's like asking the question, did Ray Charles go through it? I mean, at some point there was some, but see, this is the thing is people be scared of that kind of handicap sometimes. So that might have kept them, people be leery of that, of adding them in the debauchery. Not to say it's impossible, but they be leery of adding them to debauchery because of cause and effect. Do these people really know? See, that's the thing about selling their souls and they're blind like that. Do they really know? Because again, they were just the blood contracts. But if you can't really see it, there's a type of magic and protection that they be leery of fucking with them like that. Not to say that they didn't, but I'm saying it's that fucks their system up, making them famous. I'll say that. That kind of fucks their system up on how deep can they bring them in. And then how can they, because a lot of people wouldn't be comfortable with that. So Minnesota has a higher enrollment than Michigan. So that's a bet me and your son would have lost. Hi, Lorenzo, I told you. This was from years ago. They was bigger than Michigan. Imagining. Apparently Rick Rubin was a handler for a lot of these artists, 90s. Yeah, some people say that Rick Rubin got a little of that wizard training too. He one of them wizards. So he was chosen. He was chosen to be around. And then assumed Meyer Cohen. I think he was another one. Leonard Cohen. Leonard Cohen was another one. Just hanging around, and then get slid in positions because they've been around so long. That's what you see. They've been around so long, they get slid in positions and they practice the craft. And they're effective practicing craft, and they're effective cheating people. And so when they have that going, they tend to bring them in. And just like basketball, now one thing that has always been controlled, you see that glitch? One thing that's always been controlled, and I don't know if Zach talks about this, but is the Jesuits always have controlled basketball. That's what I agree with. They have always controlled it. And so that's their control. But if you look at entertainment, it's a completely different group that controls entertainment as far as movies and music. It's completely different. Now they try to blend them so much. Rick Rubin was really spiritual and Zen, yeah, but that's that negative. I mean, again, the scale can be negative or positive, and Rubin seems to take that negative energy. So, and you got what's his name? Russell Simmons, and we know he hiding. He got to hide out because he's like that motherfucking the Mason or the Manson guy, that dude hiding out in Sweden that gave the 14-year-old girl acid and then fucked her while she was on acid. And that girl my age, or she's an older woman now. Ruben Pulaski. They were supposedly married to Sharon Tate, which ain't nobody killed Sharon Tate. That was all bullshit. I heard that about on Marvin Gaye documentary. Yeah, PJ. And Marvin Gaye, I mean, you look at his White Album, that Divorce album, without any Vaseline, man, they fucked Marvin Gaye out of money because again, they pushed him towards Berry Gordy's sister, who, what is her name? Can't think of that. Gwen Gordy, I think is Yeah, he was married to Gwen, which, what movie is it? Because Gwen has a character. What movie? The Temptation. Okay, the Temptations movie tries to show you how Gwen cheated a group of dudes, and that was the early Temptations when they was with some other group. They were the Prime. Maybe the Primes had an early song, and Gwen Gordy is the character. They don't say it by name, but they're showing you the character of Gwen Gordy that cheats them in the beginning of the Temptation movie. That is Gwen Gordy's character that they pushed Marvin Gaye to marry. It was a way of controlling him because Marvin Gaye was, in his early 20s. She was probably close to 30. I don't think they had children together. You might can look it up, but I don't think they did. She was older, but it was a way of controlling Marvin. Marvin probably had never had none before, and this older woman, it was a way of controlling him. It was a way of Barry Gordy's control. He's a dude that, he been wearing the dresses and shit. So he been saying I'm initiated and I want it. He hasn't really been in front of the camera other than beats and stuff. But yeah, because I don't really think the Neptunes is together anymore, are they? So he's shown that he with it. He's with this system, this beast system, that he's part of it, and he agrees to be part of it. So he's with it. So what else can I say about him? What's the dude that the little short dude that's Filipino? They were saying how he's using the culture without being part of the culture. That's what they always say. Neptune's still producing for trap artists and all that. Yeah, I imagine. It's funny how Chad from Neptunes is so low key. Again, he's staying in where he's trying to stay away from some of that shit. Well, Pharrell don't. Pharrell don't wear the dress and everything. And that thing I saw yesterday of Michael Jordan wearing the shawl and the granny hair, I was like, oh, it wasn't a dress, but he wore the shawl and the granny hair. So that wasn't a dress, but it was a representation of the feminine aspect. So Michael Jordan did it too. And then Kevin Hart talked about he didn't wear the dress, but he wore the dress on fucking Saturday Night Live. Chad hugs. So that's funny. Chad hugs. Chad's Hugo. So this is the more exposed you show yourself, the more you gotta sign that thing that's moving in front of you. And that's on them. That's on them. It's like even the Cardi B music, even though it sounds good, it's such low vibrational music that like I hear that shit, I turn it automatically. I'm like, yeah, I'm not listening to that shit. And it's beat, but it's like just listening to her shit, her voice and everything. It's like I'm gonna tell you, Cardi B's voice reminds me of the Strange Fruit lady. I never liked her singing. That is something about something about the vibration of her singing Billie Holiday. I've never cared for. I've never cared for Billie Holiday. I've listened to multiple songs, even God Bless the Child. I do not like her way of singing. And so when I hear Cardi B, it makes me feel the same way I feel when I hear Billie Holiday. It's just that vibration she puts out, I don't mix with. And Cardi B, I know it lowers my vibration. Now, I doubt Billie Holiday's music does, but it's just something about her voice that bothers me, that I can't vibe with. And Megan either. Again, it's catchy, but it's gonna lower your vibration so much. You want to raise your vibration. You don't want to listen to some shit that's gonna lower your vibration. And I've got 200-300 songs, that are not just old oldies. I like new music. Oh, here's one. For all my people that like Moray, y'all got to listen to My Life. Moray is on My Life with J. Cole. I can't think. 21 Savage maybe is the other person, but My Life by J. Cole's whole shit is nice. If y'all ain't listening to J. Cole, his whole shit is nice. He got a little of the dope saying shit in it, but overall, his shit is kind of nice. So, and I even say DJ Khaled's, his album is kind of nice. But let me find this. I'll play the intro to this cut. That's what I meant to do to start tonight. I ain't gonna play the song because I didn't write the shit in there, but I'll find it. I'll play the beginning though. Moraes, this shit is sounding clean though. So whoever's producing Moraes shit, okay, that's Moray, y'all. I might have to write it in because he did sing. I'll be getting some shit, and no, I won't say that part. I'll keep that. But yeah, he's being goof reviews about J. Cole's new album. I like it. I like his new album. Back like Guru and GJ Premier, Guru probably was a sacrifice, absolutely. And his family and loyalty, like from last year or 19 going into 20, I love that album. There was 4 or 5 songs that was pretty decent, but family and loyalty, I listen to that probably every other day by Guru that they produced years later. But I love family and loyalty. So that's one of my what's it called? Nothing Now. So I keep my I like to see how the young people are vibrating. That is definitely a thing that I like to vibrate on. And so yeah, I like to hear Guru singing. His singing is on point. But I think a bunch of DJ Khaled's new songs, about 2 weeks old now, but most of them are pretty good songs. So but check out this crazy weather it's supposed to be up here. So it's been 80, like today was 88, 89. It was hot as it was a different hot because we probably kept a 25 mile per hour wind all day. So it was really feel good. And this relationship I have with the shock energy being out there, it's kind of it's interesting when you can put a tornado around yourself. And like the interesting thing with having communication with the shock energy or the wind energy is like you'll ask a question and you'll hear the answer coming to you as you hear the wind coming miles away, and then the wind comes to you and it'll twirl around. You can have your own little like tornado. It's kind of really an interesting kind of thing to have that kind of relationship, and because you hear the answer so far away coming, and then when it comes to you, so it's actively relating with nature. One of these nature force, because I am a storm force, a wind force. So Isaiah Rashad is nice. Okay, so I'll look him up. I will look him up. Because Siova, I tell you, I love Siova's style of music. What is it? Okay, I'll look him up. That's what I love about Siova. He listens like some smooth rap, and I kind of like that. He listens to very smooth rap. Um, what is this other song? We Can Go All the Way, but that song is kind of smooth too. Um, yeah, King Sis. We could go. By King Sis, featuring Titan something. Let me see. Let's see, Over be playing this all the time. He likes the Silva hit me to black coffee. Black coffee is nice too. If you just like smooth, you need me black coffee. So I like smooth music. I really like the clips from the early 2000s. Yeah, me too. Yeah, he stuck my head in and listens what's new out there from time to time. But mostly I'm listening to hip hop from the late 90s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. I like Cowboy Joint too. Okay. I like the clips too, grinding, but that whole album was kind of nice. The beats, that grinding beat comes in really hard. Conway and Freddie Gibbs. Okay. Conway's and Freddie Gibbs. I'll have to look them up. Um, I'm gonna finish. I'm getting a little tired. Plus, like I ain't slept in a couple of days, not really. So I'm gonna finish like this. Like I was explaining earlier, one of my first spiritual tests given to me directly from an entity was finding uh, the directions was pretty simple. It was like, if you do want this path, you have to find me the problem in this civilization. And as I was saying, my son kind of asked me a question like that. And again, me and him was moving around a lot. It was earlier in the day, and they was trying to do some stuff. But what I noticed again in this experience, so I had to look at this civilization from the start to the finish, and I had to point out and give the answer to this entity. And again, we're talking about something that I'm looking at this whole civilization that almost goes by in the twinkle of an eye. I mean, it goes by like this, but actually I had to look at from the very first time it moved. Again, I had to play Hanukkah. If it moved, it got counted. And I was able to do it, but it was such it was so deep and profound that I was like, damn, this shit ain't really playing. If you really want to do this, this is like it was almost being some God shit. I didn't have any reaction with this society, this civilization, but I actually had to watch it. And I had to watch the way, like watching an old maybe World War II movie, some shit like that, where it just progressed from here to there. And then I gave the answer. I don't remember the answer now, but I remember I paid enough detail. And I remember I was like, okay, this happened here, and this happened here. And I remember it just in that glimpse because I had to watch the stream, because that's why I put everybody in the hallways when I show how to meditate, because that's the stream of time. The stream of time, it's a little stream that it goes back, forward, or it's right now. It all moves the same way. And that's why I try to teach that. So more people, as a time walker, that is part of my responsibility, is showing more people how you are the time. But I'm saying, when your spiritualness comes and these tests come, don't be scared of the test. Take the spiritual test on, because you wouldn't be tested if you weren't ready. That is, I guess, my main point. It's like, don't be fearful and not take the challenge. Take the challenge. If you make mistakes, okay, then there's something you need to work on. But take the challenge and work on your spirituality, and get the word believe out of there. That you don't believe nothing. I don't believe that I can shit. I know I can shit. That's kind of how you got to look at it all. You can't really believe. That goes into blind faith. That plays into them. That's tapping into their stuff. Believe. You can't have a belief. You got to know. I think that's the best thing I've ever pushed on, that the bomber gave me the idea. Coming out of the West? That's interesting, Lorenzo. You think it's coming out of the West? Wow. Moray is, that's why him and J. Cole wasn't a long reach for them to work together, because actually they're both from Fayetteville, my understanding. Now, Moray grew up in Pittsburgh, though. He grew up in Pittsburgh, but his family left Pittsburgh when his parents broke up. His mother took them to Pittsburgh, but he still had family in Fayetteville. So I think Quicksand is shot in Fayetteville. So, and that's where J. Cole is from. I think J. Cole stayed in that area, though. Like when he wrote, he made that video about they thinking he's selling dope and shit. I think he's in North Carolina. And one thing Kwame Brown says is down south, like the dude who was playing with the Rams a year or two ago, he had a 10,000 square foot house that he paid $2 or $3 million for him in Tennessee. He was living in a 3,000 square foot house that was costing him almost $1 million something. He was renting a house, but he had bought that house in Tennessee, 10,000 square feet. In California, he had a house barely 3,000 square feet. So, and it cost more. And it cost too much. They were just renting it. So, just to kind of show you. Vietnam. There you go, Lorenzo. Peace and love to you, Jake. That is so nice for you to say. So again, these energies are really strong. That was another reason why I didn't really want to drink. I kind of want to absorb. As soon as I get done here, I'm going to get some more meditation out. As a matter of fact, if the If the moon is still out, I'll probably do a little more moon work. Again, it's going to peak tonight. I'm going to do another show tomorrow just because it's most people are going to absorb the moon tomorrow. But actually, right now, wherever you are, if you live on the East Coast, I think that the 7:30 is when it peaks. Now, there's going to be eclipse. If you live out west, you probably can see the eclipse. But again, it's going to come at west. It's going to come, I think, 5:30 out west. So if you live out west, you possibly can see the eclipse, because that's why this moon is so strong. It's the day out of time. We've got the blood moon and we've got a full eclipse of the moon eclipse. So Australia, I don't think any of my Australian people are in, but they would be able to see it as well. But I think people on the West Coast can see it too. So if you're lucky to live on the West Coast and you hear this, you absorb these energies to help you manifest, this is a great night to do it. And this is a great night to manifest. I mean, that's what this energy is also for, is for you to manifest under it. So that's the full story of why this is important and why, I always make a pretty big deal of it. Again, I give out vibrations every night that I come on. So, and again, I have neighbors, so I'm not making a lot of noise tonight. So that's why. But since I give out vibrations all the time and incorporate it, I might bring out and add a couple of my singing bowls tomorrow, a couple of them. And so, yeah. So hope this was enough to get you to enjoy the day out of time, dance tomorrow, watch the funky chicken, look at the goddess coming down in the human form, because this is a gift. This is a gift. And I'm the only one that says, that recognizes that's one of the god. That's the goddess. She's coming in human form on that young lady. I'm not fooled by these mugs, because it's the divine feminine is the divine feminine, and that everything that goes with being feminine. Queen means the royal whore. That's what queen really means. So the divine feminine is all of that. Funky chicken movie. No, it's actually Watstax. Rufus Thomas. Rufus Thomas. Rufus Thomas, Funky Chicken.
Listen to Chill Hop with your screen locked and study uninterrupted. Try YouTube Premium on us. Want to manage your credit cards, bank accounts, and savings together? Make a better view of your money habit.
Now the breakdown's already been, but watch these people start running. I'm not making any money off Rufus. Oh, I got to get that out. Look at this. Look how our people can't stay still. No other group could they be allowed to be on the floor but this. Now, the breakdown is where they show the goddess. But look at this. Look at how our people are acting. How we have to get in that vibration. They knew that this one song, they couldn't stop them from dancing. Now become part of the crowd. Jump into the crowd and start dancing with it. Do you see that? Up and down? Just like locking. See up and down? Look at it up and down. Look at the little girl. Killing it. Killing it. See if I can find. Rufus Thomas, The Breakdown. Ah, here she is. Right there. That is the goddess. Do you ever want to see a person possessed by a real goddess? That's her. That's her. The goddess goes into her. This is a real goddess that you get to see that came upon the earth. Right there. The divine feminine comes and possesses this young girl. So you can look this up on yourself. I don't know when it'll come up, but that is her. That is the goddess coming down on the earth. So I have to put Rufus Thomas. But it's Watstax, The Breakdown. It's the two songs together. So may your day of a time gives you all the consciousness of Hanukkah, where if it counts, if it moves, you count it. May you find peace, joy, bliss. May you find the spiritualness, the spiritual path that is meant for you. May you find the path of love, harmony, timelessness, wellness, abundance, joy. May you be a person that lives to your intention. Be solid, but be a person of love. Be a person of laughing. So I don't come on here and just be serious all the time. I can talk about sports all day. It's like I tell the story of being the reed. You have to be flexible. So that's why I mix it up. I put a little bit of everything in here. But this time, this year, I try to push this energy. So may you connect to this energy that's going and get nothing but wonderful feelings and manifestations out of it. Because this is a day that don't come from them. This is something that comes out of Americans. This ain't the Julius Caesar thing. This is our break from Julius Caesar. So, well, I always end with Eshawn's poem. I'm not a New York rapper or LA gang banger. I'm just an old school Detroit crack slinger. This has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. They watch it now. They get to watch it then. That's beautiful, Jay. She looked like Shaka Khan. Yeah, probably around the same age. Shaka was probably slightly older. Yep. But that makes me, it just makes me beautiful. When I look at that, it makes me glad that I'm part of America and indigenous, because there is a energy that is here for us, and we have to tap into it, and everybody around the world imitates this energy. Our dance is our culture. We are imitated. And so joy in something that's here for us, that comes out of the Americas. It's the energy that comes out of the Americas. And so dance, laugh, love, cry. I'm outside. I'm holding both of these citrines, and the tears are just coming as I'm kissed by the moon, and I'm kissed by all these spirits. As the beings, just as I live in Brahma's tears, these beings that live in my tears is coming out. And there's no shame in telling that story. I'm walking back, and it's like just tears are coming down my eyes, because this Kundalini hits me so hard, and just me trying to manifest, and then the space just opening up where I see the stars in the background. Just all just opened up for me. No telescope. I'm seeing not just this moon, but I'm seeing the stars that go beyond. So this has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. Till we meet again.